Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Alonso, Bibbs, we were at Sundance last week, so we did not get caught up, but thanks to the Super Bowl now, it's very easy for us to get to where we were supposed to be. Episode 3, looking top to bottom. Let's have a look.
Your beard is half gone.
It's the new me, huh?
I like it.
Richie did a good job.
I don't want to oversell this guy, okay? But he's everything.
Honestly, I get that a lot.
Did you know that my meeting with Jack was always just for a management job?
I'm just trying to help.
I didn't ask for help.
And this is Kevin, Patrick's boss.
So do you have a boyfriend, Sexy?
So okay, let's unpack all this.
Okay.
All right.
Take it away.
The Dom and Lynn disagreement, that actually felt dramatically valid. Like I could see Lynn arranging that behind his back with the best of intentions and not just as a dick move. And I can also see Dom being completely upset about that, at least about not having been warned about it up front.
It's a legitimate relationship issue where you're both working towards the same goals, but there's not enough communication. One person thinks they're doing the right thing, and it'll be a great surprise, and that was not cool at all.
Well, not so much the surprise,
well,
just like
I mean.
I'm older and I know better, but then here's a good segue, and I will pretend I didn't know anything about it. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. But, no, it's like you can see where he's coming from, but he's not a monster. It's nice. It's a well played dynamic.
Patrick and Kevin, meanwhile, I'm fascinated by this.
Are you really?
I am, because I'm
enjoying it. I wouldn't say I'm fascinated.
Well, I'm fascinated by the fact that Kevin really, I've never seen a sort of other person relationship, the traditionally other woman relationship portrayed where the person seems so invested. It's not like Patrick.
You mean Kevin seems so invested?
Kevin seems so invested in Patrick. It's not just his sort of dish on the side. Like he really seems to be kind of emotionally forging something there.
Right.
Obviously, at the same time, not completely having given up on the current relationship with the phone call and all that. So it's not like he's no saint in all this. But it's interesting that he's putting so much effort into giving Patrick basically the boyfriend experience in a lot of ways.
I don't know. I feel like we're missing some information here because we haven't really seen. We've only seen a little tiny piece
of the current boyfriend.
Of Kevin with the current boyfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's getting with Patrick that he's not getting in his relationship. Is it a bad relationship? Is it a good relationship and he just can't commit to one person? Is it just a flawed relationship and Patrick is giving him something he doesn't have? Maybe they can't bond over the same kind of geeky things.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I would like to know that information.
I would argue this phone conversation might be the first snippet, and even I think he knows. It's something that Patrick isn't privy to, that we are. In other words, I think that it's a mystery to us, but it's also a mystery to Patrick. Because I think the only time that Patrick ever saw the boyfriend is the only time we ever saw the boyfriend, which was at that wedding. And maybe in passing in the office or whatever. So I think narratively, it kind of puts us in his shoes where we don't know what this guy's deal is. We don't know what the deal is with his relationship or whether or not he's really going to leave the guy for Patrick or not. And that's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. For me, the big red flag with that was when they were at the rugby match. And Eddie asked Kevin, do you have a boyfriend? And he said, yes. And instead of just saying something kind of coy, I'm seeing this guy right now and he's really special, something only Patrick would know is about him, and he can feel really good about himself. He was just like, yeah, he's away for the weekend. Patrick's right there. That, for me, is the most telling moment about how Kevin is treating this. That he's not considering Patrick a boyfriend, even when he's giving him the boyfriend experience.
Right, but I think also, because I think if Eddie were the only person there, he might have danced around it more. But because of Agustín and Lauren Weedman,
who he knows that they're having an
exactly.
affair.
So there's no point in trying to dance around it, be in front of them. He might as well just be upfront and honest, because he signed up for this thing. He signed up for take me out with your friends, even though your friends now know the extent of our relationship.
Right, but at the same time, it's a sort of thing that would only apply to Patrick. It's only that would show Patrick that he cared, and he didn't do it, and that ticked me off.
I think he's trying to show Patrick that I'm not trying to pretend that something else is going on here, and I'm not putting on a show for anybody.
I think it's interesting that you're sympathizing with Kevin in this situation, and I'm sympathizing with Patrick.
For
me, if I were Patrick, I'd be like, dude, all you had to do was maybe just give me a nudge or something.
I'm not necessarily sympathizing. The way that I read that scene is Kevin is put in this situation where he wants to hang out with Patrick's friends, even though Patrick's friends all know that he has a boyfriend.
Right.
And I think that he's trying not to overstate anything or shimmy-shammy around what's really going on. That's my only take on it. Could he have been more tactful? Could he have said something that would have been more, pleasing to Kevin? Absolutely.
I'm going to
to Patrick, rather.
I'm going to dance to go around to a different part of this episode. I'm going to paraphrase L.A. Story with Steve Martin. That was a great enema. I can't remember. I don't think I've ever seen an enema. Like, not that we saw like it in graphic detail, but like really like that aspect.
That
of
downward
anal
dog
play.
pose.
Like I've never seen that in a TV show or even a movie. Really.
I have to say, one of the things that I think is a fairly recent phenomenon in even like sort of mainstream as it is queer media is talking about butt sex and the mechanics therein.
Even Doris got rimmed this week.
Yes, she did.
Good on you, Doris.
Yeah, Patrick Ian Polk, who created the show Noah's Ark, had a movie called The Skinny a couple years ago, and there is this lengthy conversation from somebody who's about to have anal sex for the first time about what's involved and how do you clean up and da-da-da. And I was like, I can't believe I'm seeing this in a movie. Like it was so.
And I'm thrilled. It's like finally.
It was just like, whoa. So we're going to talk about this now. We're going to have this conversation in a movie, and they did the same thing here. I mean, I don't believe that Patrick, as somebody who lives in San Francisco, would be all like, ha, I'm buying enemas, and expect that anybody at the Walgreens would greet that with anything but a yawn. But
right. Isn't he not used to being a bottom? No, he's not used to being a top. Which one is he not used to? He's not used to one of them.
I don't know. It's his versatility that he's very excited about.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that you just take it for granted, I would think, if you live in San Francisco, that if you're buying enemas at the drugstore, they know why you're buying.
Well, even just the lady at the counter is like, honey, where do you live?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the thing. That's why I didn't buy that he would put on that production for her and expect anything but the eye roll that she gave him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's kind of funny to talk about this stuff. And there's so much in this show, just so many kind of throwaway lines of dialogue that, again, no gay show or black show or whatever is ever going to completely encapsulate everyone's experience.
Which is why but it's frustrating though, because when there aren't a lot of shows about a certain experience, people want to look at it as though it must be.
The burden is placed upon them.
I want this to be my show, and if it's not my experience, I will be frustrated.
Right, exactly. But what I will say for this show is that there's so many little throwaway lines and moments and just kind of things that happen in the dialogue that so perfectly encapsulate kind of a gay quotidian experience, this sort of day-to-day stuff. That just is little recognizable moments that kind of ping with me.
Stuff.
Okay, fine. But that I never would get out of something like, say, Queer as Folk,
Right.
Or the American version anyway. Just that I'm like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's a thing that somebody I know would say, or that's a thing that we would talk about.
I made a couple of notes because there were a couple of like things or references that I was like, I don't know how big.
Let me footnote for you.
So I know what a bear is.
Yes. I would hope you do, Bibbs.
I'm 90% there. What is an otter?
An otter is a skinny, hairy guy.
Oh, do they have to be like really downy? Do they have to like
not necessarily?
condition?
No,
okay.
no.
Fair enough.
Within the world of bears, there are like polar bears and panda bears and otters and wolves.
Bear?
Asians.
I thought they'd have to have like white hair as well.
No, they don't have spotches.
Okay, no, these are all things. I'm dead serious about these.
Okay, no, go on.
All right, Romeo and Michelle, still a thing?
For the gays, yeah.
Still,
yeah. Romeo and Michelle,
That's
Golden
movie,
Girls, Steel Magnolias never went away.
Golden Girls, isn't there Romeo and Michelle? I thought that had gone the way of the dodo. Okay, this is something that I've only ever seen joked about in a sort of a prudish or immature way, usually in sort of a gay panic kind of way. But looking at a urinal, when you're at a urinal, you go, was Augie just joking, or is that a thing?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends on time and place and who's there. Because the two of them were the only ones in the bathroom, and because they had already been hanging out for a while, then it would be it's the kind of thing you could joke about and maybe even do and joke about.
Okay. Butt smacking in a locker room after a sports game. Is that a thing?
That's a thing that straight guys do. If anything,
well, I have learned something today.
We learned it from you, Dad. Yeah, believe it. Homoerotic behavior in a locker room, that is not a gay thing. That is a jock thing.
I was joking about that one. But one other thing I noticed, and I don't honestly remember if I've seen this before, was this our first full frontal penis on this show? It was in the locker room. Like, I didn't make a thing out of it.
Yeah, it was contextual. It might be. There's a lot of ass on this show.
There's a lot of ass, and we're all very thankful.
Not a lot of junk.
Not a lot of.
That might be a first.
I want to put that in Urban Dictionary. Yeah, I was,
a lot of area.
was waving around my buffalo shot. If you will.
Yes.
But no, funny episode, good episode. I like the attention to detail
Yeah.
in terms of sexuality. Even just Doris talking about this, back in my head caved in. Like all that stuff was really funny. I love the characters. Nothing really wrong about this episode.
And
but
I think they're overselling the Augie trying to get with
Richie.
Richie, thank you. God damn it! Why does that name keep flying out of my head? I think they're overplaying that in the thing because I think Richie Richie, I think we've established, is the smartest person on this show.
He's
emotionally
the one who looks
speaking.
at everyone else and goes, fucking really?
Yeah, emotionally speaking, he is the smartest one on this show, and I think he knows that Augie is the last person to ever get
Which is
involved
why
with
they're
it.
gonna get married.
Oh, no.
No, that's what you do. You introduce two people, make them perfect, and then you just split them off into other people with whom they are not perfect. We saw it on the newsroom, even on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, although they took the curse off of it by making Willow gay.
Yeah, well.
But like, yeah, I guess she was gay the whole time. But you know what I mean.
I hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Anything can and will happen.
I think so. But yeah,
As
so
we keep looking.
oh, we're not ending. We're not ending it on that note. Stop. Not ending on that note. Yes, a very good episode, and we will be back next week, caught up with everything. So we hope you join us.
Thank you.